What's up, guys? Welcome to Knockers on the Bottom. I'm your host, Jay Mill. Jay Miller, if you like. So let's get into it. So hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. But yeah, today the Cowboys take on the Carolina Panthers. So I do think the Cowboys have a chance for quite a bit of success here. The Panthers have an okay defense. We took a look at their offense a couple of days ago. So today we're going to take a look at their defense, going in and kind of also give our predictions and then, pick who we think is going to win or who I think is going to win. So just taking a quick look at their defense here, there's some ways that the Panthers defense can be had. So just looking at the way the Patriots lined up against them, right? This is the game they lost after shutting Atlanta out 30-0. They went and they beat up on the Patriots. They went and the Patriots beat up on them. So they look like two different teams. So I guess it all depends also on, what Carolina team shows up today. So the Patriots come out here. They've got the running back in, tight end pretty tight. Three wide receivers. So let's take a look and see how Carolina handles this. So Carolina matches it with a simple nickel here. They do play nickel. Sorry, before the play rolls here. They do play nickel a lot, like something like 80-something% of the time, whether it's run heavy formation or pass. So the Cowboys are not only going to have a chance to have some success running, but they also will see a lot of zone. So they play a lot of nickel, they play a lot of zone. Actually, the Cowboys are the second heaviest zone team in the league. The heaviest zone team is the team you're going to play today. And Dak Prescott eats zone alive. So, boom, you see the play fake here. And what do we notice about this play? Tight end, blocks upfield, lets that guy go, and Drake May, boom, dumps it off. And we see the tight end screen going deep. Now, this is very similar, if not the exact same play that Jake Ferguson scored a touchdown on, last week from 28 yards out. So it's nice to see that, the Patriots ran the same thing, and that tells me the Cowboys have a chance to run that play and be very successful and possibly see it go for a touchdown. I don't know if you guys remember last week, I talked about that Ryan Flanoy in and around play that they ran out of, that personnel that they were handing it off to Jamal Williams on a counter, and they kept running that play. And then later on in the game, they came down and ran and in and around. And I called the Cowboys running that play against the Jets because that would take some of the Cavante Turpin stuff and put it in Flanoy's hand. And sure enough, the Cowboys ran it last week. So now I'm calling this play. I think the Cowboys are definitely going to run that tight end screen with some success, probably more than once. Against the Panthers. So let's take a look here as well. Now, the other thing I notice about the Panthers that I think the Cowboys are going to have a big advantage of is J.C. Horn, right? I'm not saying that Horn is a bad player or anything like that. What I'm saying is, what I'm saying is J.C. Horn lines up as the boundary corner, right? So this is not going to be like last week where Sauce Gardner was traveling with George Pickens. If the Cowboys want to get George Pickens the ball, all they have to do is line him up on the non-boundary side and they can get him the ball because the Panthers are not going to move J.C. Horn. What that means is Mike Jackson is going to be, and if you remember that name, it's not the hee Mike Jackson. It's the Mike Jackson that the Cowboys drafted 6 years ago, ended up cutting him. He's bounced around the league. He's played for Seattle. Now he's playing for Carolina. But he's going to be the field corner. So he's going to be the guy covering all the space. That means you can get George Pickens on Mike Jackson all day if you want. And I expect the Cowboys to do that. And the reason why the Panthers do that is because they don't trust J.C. Horn in the run game to tackle as much as he should. So as you see here, the Carolina Panthers, the Panthers line up, but also the Dolphins line up, and they put Waddle out here, right? And what that's going to do is that's going to get Waddle out in space against Mike Jackson and just get him an easy completion, and boom, he gets tackled, right? But I'm showing you that play to say we can do this all day with George Pickens. We can line him up there and have him run a 14-yard post whenever the freak we want. And he's going to get that cushion and he's going to get the ball. So the Cowboys offense, unless Carolina just comes out and plays a completely different game than we're expecting, like the Cowboys offense is going to have the opportunity to move the ball. Here we see again, we have the Patriots lined up here, right? They got their one tight end, single back set, got a receiver tight to the line of scrimmage. How do Carolina match it? They match to a nickel, right? They're not putting three linebackers out there. They're not going to go heavy personnel. They trust that they can get their front four to be stout against the run, and they can kind of make up for their deficiencies in coverage by having everybody else drop back deep. And this looks like, a running play to me all the way. Sure enough, it is. Boom. You have Henderson, right? He gets the ball. Now, Henderson gets the ball, blocked up here pretty nicely. These guys are blocked up pretty nicely. These guys are blocked up pretty nicely. He's got a lead blocker out in space. So much for getting, your front four home. And Henderson, right, he turns it right up the middle. Now, what was interesting about this play that made it a little creative here is you actually have Ramondre Stevenson lined up in the backfield, and you have Henderson lined up in the slot. So they have both running backs on the field at the same time. This is some of the things I would like to see the Cowboys do with Javonte Williams and Jadon Blue. I think we can take advantage of this defense in some of the same ways. And I know the Cowboys coaches saw this on tape. And it makes it look very well, right? Like it's a running play. And these guys think they're really going to, get it bottled up. But instead, it's an in and around, just like we do to Flournoy, right? And boom, he's into the open field, gets 11 yards, gets a first down, keeps the ball moving. Just their defense is really simple, and it's very easy to trick them. So let's take a look at now the Cowboys offense, right? Some of these plays the Cowboys are going to have wide open. This is a Jets defense that was a better defense than the Carolina Panthers defense, right? So you take a look, Cowboys use motion at the beginning. Jets kind of match it a little bit differently. They got three linebackers on the field at this time, but now instead of having a run play, boom, Cowboys fake that run play, right? So now the Jets are kind of up looking for it. A little late to react. What happens? Ferguson sneaks out at the last second. Dak Prescott, a nice little short completion over the middle of the field. Ferguson goes, mean stiff arm, by the way, and gets 13 yards. You're going to have this play open against the Panthers all day, especially if they're playing nickel. They only have two linebackers out there. They're going to be dropping in coverage. There's going to be plenty of room in the short and intermediate game today. Probably also in the deep passing game, honestly. So let's take a look here. Same thing I'm talking about with George Pickens being able to line up anywhere and get his shot off. Now, in this particular play, though, George Pickens is lined up where he would be, on the boundary side. So in this particular situation, Horn would probably match up with him until you see the motion out there, right? Once this guy motions out, Horn would probably step out and take this guy, and whoever the slot corner is would take George Pickens, which would be a mistake. So you see Dak Prescott, he sees the defense, he's checking it at the line of scrimmage because he sees that somebody bumped out to take that receiver, and now Pickens is going to have his release on the inside, and we'll see what happens, in this play. We'll see what the result is. And the Cowboys are going to be here in the red zone a lot. So protection is good, right? Boom. Dak is already decisive. He sees all this room right here for Pickens to go get the ball. Like I said, that guy bumped out once Williams went to the outside to take him, so Dak knew that this guy was going to be responsible for George Pickens, and that's exactly what happened. And boom, just lets him sit down nice and easy, touchdown. That's going to be there all day, right? And then third, same kind of thing. We showed how, the Patriots were able to run the ball on the Carolina Panthers to the outside. I think the Cowboys will be able to do the same thing to the outside here. They're playing against the Jets, right? Jets match it with 4 down linemen. They got 8 guys in the box, though. The Jets are playing nickel, right? But the Jets have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 guys in the box. They're just trying to match it because they see the Cowboys heavy with a fullback, 2 tight ends, and the running back. Cowboys just send a little motion, get the defense to shift over a little bit. Still tight to the line of scrimmage, though. And boom, nice little pitch here. Now, what do we see? Javonte already has an advantage because the Jets already had so many guys inside, tight to the box. But what you got is you got a lot of guys in motion. They don't necessarily have to block guys when you're in motion like that, although that's a very nice block. That's probably the first block that sprung them. Most of you want to do is just give your running back lanes, right? That guy has a nice block. This guy's out here with a nice block. So, you're just giving your running back lanes and then letting Javonte Williams run with power and do the rest. I know the Jets got tired of seeing him by the end of the day. They were just tired of seeing that man, run down the field and bowl over everybody and just keep introducing himself to all the linebackers and the corners. I expect to see that a lot today. The Cowboys offense should have plenty of success. So let's get on to predictions. I don't think this is going to be a close one. I think Javonte will have a big day, but I think an even bigger day will be had by George Pickens. Flournoy should have another good game. I don't know if he'll have 100 yards again, but he should have another good game. Ferguson will probably have another touchdown or two, because this is, as long as the Cowboys execute, they should win this game. So I'm picking the Cowboys to win this game, something like 34-21. I do expect the Panthers to score a few points. The Cowboys defense is still trying to get it together. Maybe Tedero McMillan gets his first NFL touchdown. Maybe Rico goes for 60 yards and a touchdown. I do think the Cowboys are going to hold him relatively in check. I don't expect a 200-yard rushing game. But yeah, that's what I got. I think the Cowboys will win, and we get to 3-2, and we move on to Washington next week. So, but thank you guys so much for tuning in. Hit me up on Twitter at JMillerIYL. You can also hit me up at knockersdownthebottom@outlook.com, knockersdownthebottom@gmail.com. Leave comments below, any questions, anything you want me to cover, or just anything you want to say, let it be known, man. But until next time, I'm your host, J Mill. J Miller, if you like. This has been Knockers on the Bottom. Peace.